Full disclosure, I'm about to make some people mad. If you are looking for the rah, mama, you've got this, yes, queen, you can do all things, I'm gonna follow you to the ends of the earth, you can make no wrong decision, this is not the video for you, and I'm gonna need you to check out now because I know that you will come at me with the pitchforks in the comments, and it is what it is. Guys, welcome back to Making Everyday Magic. My name is Shauna, and if you are new here, we are a homeschooling family of 4. We are going into our 8th year of homeschooling. I have an 8th grader and a 3rd grader. No, 7th grader and a 3rd grader. Guys, today I wanted to come here and give you a little bit of truth, a little bit of honesty. But if you can't quit, you do not need to start. Guys, before I go any further, please scroll down, hit the big red subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. As always, you can find me right on down in the comments or over on Instagram at Making Everyday Magic. Let me start with what I think is just an absolutely adorable story, and then we will talk about the big kind of elephant in the room, okay? If you are unfamiliar, John Krasinski from The Office and If, recently, absolutely love it, went on a Tonight Show or one of those late night talk show things, and he was talking about his stardom, okay? And the anecdote, the story that he gave was that he told us, I want to be an actor, I'm gonna go, I don't remember if it was New York or LA, whatever, and try to do this. And his mom looked him dead in the face and said, I support you, I am all for you, and I love you. But I need you to know when to quit. Because as your mother, you cannot ask me to tell you to give up on your dreams. I need you to be able to pull yourself out when you recognize that you're at a point where this will go no further for you. I need you to be able to recognize when it's time to quit. And so he went, he said, give it, I think it was a year or 2 years. And he went, and it was like coming up on that 2-year mark or whatever. And he was like, Mom, I think this is it. I'm going to call it. I'm going to come home. I'm not going to do it. And his mom was able to say, give it a little longer. Give it one more try. And that's when he got The Office. And obviously his career has taken off. I tell you this to tell you, I am going to be the person who tells you you need to know when to quit. If you are coming into homeschooling, and it is a glorious way of life, it absolutely is. If you are deciding to shoulder the burden of your children's education, which is beyond food and shelter, which those are necessities. So I will say, your children's education is the best gift that you can give to them to set them up for life, success, everything in the future. If you do not have the cojones, if you do not have it in you to be self-aware enough to know when you need to quit, you do not need to start. I'm dead serious, guys. If you cannot get to a point where you recognize that this is not the kind of life that is serving everyone in your home best, and you cannot be humble enough, put your ego aside enough, if you cannot look yourself in the mirror and say, it is time to quit, you do not need to start. And I mean this wholeheartedly on behalf of your children, of your family, of yourself. If you are not the type of person who's going to be able to eat humble pie, look everybody in the face who told you you couldn't do it and be like, well, nope, you're right, we couldn't. If you can't be big enough, mom enough, man enough, woman enough to do that, please, on behalf of everyone involved, do not start homeschooling. Okay? I mean it. I said what I said, and I know a lot of people are going to get really mad. I am a huge fan of starting something, and if it doesn't work, pivot. You guys know I have my pivot or quit it approach where if it's not working for me, I pinpoint what could make it better. And then if that's not working, we quit. I'm a huge fan of trying and trying and trying and trying again and trying something different. But there comes a time when it is time to tap out. And you have to be self-aware enough to know when that is. If you make it to the end of a homeschool year and you have not met your benchmarks, which I'm going to tell you, it's really important to predefine what success looks like in your homeschool, because you are emotionally involved in this decision. So it is not a logistical decision. It is not a tactical decision. It is not a decision that is devoid of your incredibly invested emotions. And because it involves your children, probably some level of hormones. Like, it is such a deep, deep, deep decision. I mean, this will run in every fiber of your body. So if you are not predefining what success looks like, you will lie to yourself. You will not be self-aware. You will jade yourself. For me, for mine, what we said before we started, when we started having conversations of homeschool, what does that look like? How will we know if we're on track? Because we're in Texas, we don't do annual testings, things like that. How will we know if we're on track? How will we know if they're where they should be? For us, we said they are currently here. If they do not maintain status quo with their peers, or if we start losing ground from our perception of their advancedness, then we need to reevaluate. And we no longer reevaluate every 6 months like when we started, because we've fallen into a groove and we can kind of tell what works, what doesn't work. But every single year, it is a question of, did we keep them on pace for them? So it doesn't matter where your kid is starting from, okay? It does not matter. If you have an 8th grader who has been failed by the public school system, who cannot read, or who can only read, simple 3-letter CVC words. If you get to the end of your first homeschool year and they have not made progress, you are losing ground. If you get to the end of that first homeschool year and they no longer can read 3-letter CVC words, you are doing them a disservice. And if you cannot be self-aware enough to recognize when, despite your best efforts, and it's even harder when you've put in effort, it's even harder when you've spent money, it's even harder to rip that Band-Aid off when you've invested so much of your time, energy, effort, when you've worked so hard and when you want it so bad. But if you cannot look every single one of those things in the face and say, I'm not doing good here, I need to quit. If you cannot look yourself in the mirror and say, we are quitting. If you cannot look that naysaying mother-in-law in the face and say, you know what? We chose the best answer for right now. And the best answer for right now is quitting. And it is okay if you chose something that was the best shot at advancement your child had and it didn't work out. It's okay if it doesn't work. But what is not okay, I'm all for trying. Please try again. But when you're losing ground, if you're not hitting your benchmarks, if it isn't doing people the service that it should be doing, if you are having negative effects, you must quit, okay? I'm full support of everybody who wants to homeschool, should be able to homeschool, should be afforded the opportunity to homeschool. I want homeschool to be accessible to all. It's a wonderful way to live. But it's not for everybody. It really isn't. And if you can recognize that it is not for you, I need you to quit, okay? I need you to put everything aside. What I don't want you to do is get to your kid being 18 and you being like, yeah, well, back in 3rd grade, we slacked off on those multiplication facts, or I let him spend an entire year playing Roblox and Fortnite and we just never got back on track. But I don't know how to quit because I'm like so embarrassed and I failed them. And what will people think of me? I could give 2 shits what people think of you. I need you to right the ship as soon as it starts listing. Once it starts listing, if you can't identify at that point, you have no business doing this. If you cannot quit, if you do not have the resilience, the fortitude, the cojones, whatever it is, to quit when it is clear that you should, don't start, okay? I know this was mean, I know this was harsh, and I'm really, really sorry, but it's something that needs to be said. This isn't for everyone, okay? And if you will struggle, think of the worst case scenario. If you cannot look, I don't know, your mother-in-law, if you cannot look your spouse, if you cannot walk down to the local elementary school, look the principal in the face and say, whoop, well, I guess you were right, I need him to come back. If you cannot do what it takes to fix what you're doing, if you cannot do what it takes to undo this decision, if you cannot do what it takes to make sure that your kids have a quality education, for the love of everything that is good and holy in this world, do not start. I mean it, guys. If you can't quit, don't start. And that's going to be really hard. You'll have egg on your face. You'll eat crow at humble pie. People will talk about you bad behind your back. And that, guess what? Doesn't matter. What matters is your kid's chance at success. So again, I know it's mean. I know you're not going to want to hear it, but it needs to be said, okay? I am so tired of hearing and seeing and recognizing when somebody truly, truly needs to have a heart-to-heart with themselves about their homeschooling decisions, and people just come out of the woodwork to build them up falsely. People come out of the woodwork to give them false hope, when really what people need to be doing is honestly being a bit critical of what's happening and encouraging them to choose a different way of life. This isn't for everybody. And again, I'm going to say it one more time. If you cannot quit, do not start. If you cannot be a big enough person to quit this entire decision and have everybody in the whole world know that you made a giant flipping mistake, don't start. Okay? That's it. It's that simple. Guys, I hope that you found any of this helpful, entertaining, or informative. If you did, please scroll down, hit the big red subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up. As always, you can find me right on down in the comments or over on Instagram. I'm making everyday magic. And again, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. And I don't care. Somebody's got to be the person to say it. And some of you need to be the people to hear it. Let's not kid.